The Radio Misfits Podcast Network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Planted with Sara Pine. I'm Sara Pine, your host, and today I have two very special guests on the show from the hottest show in LA, Reefer Madness, the musical. We have lead producer Christian Campbell, who is also the original Jimmy Harper in the movie, and Darcy Rose Byrnes, who is the leading lady playing Mary Lane. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. So before we get into all the excitement, and I got to say, I came to see the show the other week and it was wonderful. But before we get into all that, what was your first cannabis experience?
Darcy, go ahead.
Okay.
I actually haven't had one yet. It was kind of funny at the 420 party when we first kind of met each other, and I met Spencer Liff. He walked up to me at the bar and he went, "What are you drinking?" And I went, "Shirley Temple," and he just kind of started cackling. He was like, "Yeah, okay." He had to teach me how to hold a joint during choreo rehearsal. I'm a teetotaler. I'm kind of that part of Mary Lane is very similar to myself. So I'll circle back with you when I get there.
You know, it's not for everybody. That's it. And it's like, there are a lot of people in the world that are just high on life and right on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. To each their own. I'm chill. I have no problem with anything.
Christian?
Yeah, you know what? I can't actually tell you a specific time that it was the first time. It probably would have been sometime in my late teens where I may have tried it, but I don't. Thing is, I was kind of it would have been late teens. My mom, I lived in Canada. So my mom is from Amsterdam. And I was very much bought into the whole Nancy Reagan anti-drug thing, because that was just, that message didn't just stay in America. That flowed outside across the world,
Yeah.
And so that had sort of taken hold of me. So alcohol was fine. Cigarettes were fine. I think I was drinking by the age of 13 years old. And, in Canada, we're big drinkers up in Canada. And it's cold up there. There's nothing to do besides drink. And so started, younger. And then the weed had been around, but it wasn't something that I was on my radar at all, because it was just so you know, all that stuff. Little did I know is that my mom up to that point had been basically a lifelong smoker. And her cigarettes just smelled different. And she always described them. I was like, why do they smell different? Because she'd be out with her girlfriends out on the front porch. And she would say, "Oh, this is American tobacco." That's how she would describe it to me. Because I had no idea. And so that was how she would describe. That was my first experience with it, really. But just, it was American tobacco, and American tobacco really stank. Yeah.
It's funny. Well, when you were talking about, Canadians and it being cold, I'm originally from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, so I feel this. Yeah, there was a lot of, like, especially with the long, cold, dark winters. God, it makes it sound like I grew up in the tundra, but kind of, you know.
Yeah, I know. And it's just like, when you look at the Northern European countries, they're also big drinkers as well. It's like, it's cold. The nights are long and dark, and it is just the way. I guess you numb yourself to the pain.
And don't fall asleep in a snowbank. Please
Exactly.
Oh, no.
It may feel warm. As soon as it feels warm, you're in danger.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So Darcy Rose, you were talking about having to learn how to hold a joint. Like, what was that like? Because I remember, like, being in school and working with friends of mine who were in shows who were like trying to figure out, like, how to do the cigarette, but it's a little different.
It's a little different. Yeah, it was just kind of funny, because it's like, I think I'm an actor who likes to be prepared and stuff, and that was just not something that I considered having to learn how to do. I just thought it would be the same as whatever. And so the moment, Spencer Lip was like, "That's not how you," I was like, I'd been found out as my Mary Lane came out, and I was kind of like, oh well, here we go. But yeah, it was just kind of funny. It's a wonderful group of people, so there wasn't anything weird about it. It was just kind of like, all right, well,
Totally.
sure, of course they cast her.
Yeah, well, and it's totally in character. I mean, because that's
Yeah.
that's what would be going on. She hadn't had it before. That's funny. I just remember like back in the day being aware of the Reefer Madness movie, the old one, like the
Yeah.
one that was like in the 30s. And as somebody like I've been an educator, and I've taught about like the history of cannabis legalization in universities, and it's one of the things that I would always pull up, like that picture, Reefer Madness. It's crazy,
Mm.
you're gonna lose your kids, like all this stuff. But I'm getting back into like the origins of doing the musical. Christian, you were the original Jimmy Harper in Reefer Madness, the movie musical, in 2005. And what was when you did that, what was that experience like for you, and how did that morph into what you're doing today?
Yeah, well, I actually started with the production in 1999. So
Oh.
we did the show itself, the stage play or the stage
Mhm.
music play that you saw, that started in 1999. That was a satire that was written by Dan Studney and Kevin Murphy, as of the original 1936, and that was supposed to run 2 months, end up running 2 years, and I think to this day it still holds the record for being the longest LA production, longest running LA production, right? Yeah. And I didn't know much about Reefer Madness, the original. So when I got cast in it, we all watched the movie together, and it's 50 minutes of my life I'll never get back.
Yeah.
But
Right. Yeah.
it was, illuminating, and then and suddenly it opened up to all the research, and Kevin Murphy put together a whole sort of educational Bible for us to kind of go through the history of propaganda and what were the forces behind it. And as soon as that happened for me, that just brought in all sorts of other layers to what we were doing, and made me believe. I'm very much I'm very much a mission driven actor, creator. I like mission. If it's got mission, I'll go to the end to make sure it happens. So that made me feel like, oh, great. Now I believe it also what this is saying. It has a worldview, and not only a worldview that needs to be shared, because a lot of people actually don't know about the history of prohibition and the forces that were at work, which is always comes down to generally money, or in America, racism.
Mhm.
And so knowing that those forces were at work, and that you can actually see them, and how they were basically copy and pasted then into Congress, and then copy and pasted into other countries, because if you wanted to do business with the United States, because of the United States stance on marijuana, now you had to level all of your hemp crops, even though your culture may have been growing hemp for thousands of years. Suddenly now you have to get rid of that out of your culture, and those cultures are still where it's illegal. Like Spain right now, we're like our marketing team for Fever Up. Some of their offices are out in Spain, and it's still very much illegal there. It's very much illegal in the UK, whereas prior to all of this fakakta mess in the United States, it hadn't been. And so everyone understanding how these things have this kind of pulsing, reverberating effect, and how propaganda, misinformation, disinformation can have long, far-reaching, near 100-year kind of effects on a society, generational society. That to me is something I'm interested in, and how to unwind that, how to sort of unwash the brain, so to speak.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
we're still seeing a lot of that today, because I know for myself working in policy,
Mm.
um, you know, going into different states when they're going into either legalization or looking to do a medicinal program, the one thing that I learned was that policy isn't based on fact a lot
Mhm.
of times.
Mm.
It's based on, in our state culture, which is very strong and very different. It's like we're one country, but these states have all their own very distinct personalities and cultures. And then stigma, because that was one of the things when I would go in and I would talk to people, be like, hey, how do you get in there and get people to listen to you? I'm like, well, I wear a suit and heels,
Mm.
and I do my makeup, and I do my hair, and I go in and I talk, and they're like, wow, you're not somebody that I would actually think about that's using this. And it's like, well, I worked in civil rights before this, and I'm a cancer survivor, and this is why I'm coming in to talk to you about these things. And then they're like, oh, but the thing that always got me was that I remember being in Sacramento when we were doing some lobbying and testifying. There was this young woman who was standing right next to me, very, very well educated on the points and very passionate. But the difference between the two of us was that she had a lot of long blonde dreads and a hemp necklace. And it was like, how is it that our appearances change the way that you perceive what's coming out of our mouths? Because it's the exact same thing. And she probably knew more than I did. It's really the whole thing with perception. And that's why I think
from an actor's standpoint, she needs to play the part.
Well, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You've got to put on the costume in order to be able to convey your message, and so people are open to it, right? And this, I know we talk with identity and everything like that, we should be able to be ourselves, but we're all in drag. All of us are in drag.
Absolutely.
We're all putting on airs, and so you need to understand when you're playing and you have a mission and you have something you need to do, whatever it takes in order for you to accomplish your mission, whether that be dressing a certain way, do it, get it done. It doesn't matter. Just go into drag, get it done. You know, so, but I know it's frustrating. It's frustrating.
Unfortunate. You should hope that the content itself would be enough, but people don't always listen. They look first.
Yeah.
And they hear more just from what they see.
The blink of people's perception, right? And it's based on all the cultural norms and whatnot and whatever they're fed prior to that. And they're going to make a blink judgment on within, seconds.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that will be a holding judgment, by the way. It's going to be really hard to unwind that judgment after that.
Yeah, well, then that's why I think that like what you're doing with the musical is fascinating. And we were talking a little bit before before we were recording, but the fact of being able to use theater as a tool to teach people and to see beyond themselves and to look at things through a different lens, the work that the two of you are doing with this, I think, is really instrumental. And I always like to say conversation is normalization, but entertainment is part of that as well, and it's part of the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Entertainment, I think, has always been the easiest access for a lot of people to normalize things. I mean, the best example I can think of is Will and Grace. Like, Will and Grace is, throughout the entire country, and it's in homes that maybe these people have never even seen a gay person before in their life. But now there's stories that they can empathize with and laugh about in their home every single day. Theater and entertainment, I think, at its loftiest, has the power to change minds by changing hearts first. And that's all you can. I mean, at the end of the day, I just hope to make people laugh, but that's the goal, is to do something that actually makes an impact for people.
Yeah, and it was such a great experience because we had dinner beforehand, which was really nice. And I can't believe how you transformed the space. Mm-hmm. You'd never know that.
That's a round of applause to Christian right there.
Yeah, really, seriously, it was beautiful. And we stayed afterwards, of course, for the entertainment after the show too. And we brought with us the mayor of what is it? It's Westlake Village. Yes, sorry. The mayor of Westlake Village came with us. And he also owns a dispensary in Thousand Oaks. So it's like the world is changing. It was like very, very cool that Ned came with, and he was totally delighted by it. And so we were listening to the entertainment afterwards, and we were in the middle of a discussion, and all of a sudden I hear the band leader stop and do a quick shout out to Camino Gummies. And I'm like, wow. Oh, hey, that is something very different. I like that.
Yeah, right.
So you've
Mm-hmm.
and you've created some engagement with some brands then.
Yeah, we did, and we the engagement started pre the show, so we were actually selling something that didn't exist, even though there was the movie they could look at. They could look at the history of it, and I could tell them kind of, we have this idea, believe us, we're going to make it happen. And so we got them on board because cannabis really hasn't touched culture in this way yet in America. Musical theater and cannabis, no, right? Those are two things that don't go together normally, right? So by putting them together, I think was just a really unique opportunity for anyone looking to just get their name out there and differentiate themselves. And also, they're just big supporters also of our message too. It's clearly it's aligned mission-wise.
Yeah.
all the cannabis community.
Well,
So.
it brings a great opportunity for it to be more mainstream, because right now, with a lot of the compliance issues that we're having in the industry, it's incredibly difficult for it to get out in a way that, everybody's always like, well, what about the children? Like, we can't be making it attractive and this and that. But also we're looking at studies that are showing, they just did a study a few years ago out of Colorado, that as we get into legalization, because you're taking away a lot of, if this is bad, you can't do it. Kids are just like, my uncle eats gummies or smokes. It's not that exciting to me. Like, it's just, when you take away that mystery, I know for me as like a precocious child, you told me not to do something. I was all like, oh, why? That sounds interesting. Let's check it out,
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've known that rule comparing North American culture to European culture, and the relationship to both alcohol and sex, where in Europe, far more open about these things, far more so it's communicated, it's educated. Children, you have wine, there's a little bit of wine with dinner, that's a normalized thing. And so you don't see sort of the high levels of peak alcoholism and whatnot, because it's just now seen as just an integrated part of your life that doesn't necessarily need to take over your life.
Yeah.
Same thing with sex, where it's not like it's taken away from you, therefore, right? Or we obsess about it here in America.
Yeah, we're a little repressed here,
Yeah.
It's one of those things. I'm looking forward to the day, if it ever comes, that we worry more about some of the things that are very impactful for our livelihoods and happiness, rather than creating them around that. I mean, it just seems like our country. Yeah, we're getting there.
I've been here I've been here since 1995.
Yeah.
It's progress. It's real progress.
Total non sequitur. I looked at pictures from back in the day when you were doing the musical, and I see, how do you keep your boyish good looks? How does this happen?
Got a painting somewhere.
You did whole Dorian Gray.
Well, I'm a Democrat. I drink baby's blood.
Yeah, there it is.
All right, then.
Yeah.
Isn't that what they think of us? Isn't that what they think of us?
Yeah,
right?
they do. They do. Oh, so what has been some of the feedback that you've been getting? I saw all the pictures from opening night. It just looked like a wonderful success, and you had people you have people who are involved in production who were in the original production with you, but then you had your sister showed up and she was in the original production. What's the feedback that you've all been getting about it, and how are you feeling about it? I know that you're getting, or you have been extended, so congratulations for that. It's amazing.
Thanks. You could, from a producing standpoint, in terms of people's response, the word of mouth, all of it, you couldn't ask for more. The reviews have been raves. Audience members are coming back to see the show again, and
Multiple times.
Awesome.
After the concert yesterday, someone in the parking lot on the way out, he was like, "I've seen it 3 times. Great job. See you next time." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah. And that was part of the intention of what we were doing, because that kind of happened in the original production back in 1999 as well. It happens a lot with these kinds of cult things, but it's also a very dense, very smart, irreverent musical with very clever lyrics, and they are constantly clever. So if you go and see it again, you're continually getting new things, new realizations. Oh, I missed that last time. I was too busy laughing at the previous joke, right? So it's one of those shows that
the way it's spaced for this production as well. It's so immersive that you come into a different seat and you see a different version of the show because you're seeing it from a different angle. So there's always something new. Yeah,
I really appreciated the immersive aspect of it. I was constantly like twisting in my seat, checking different things out, and it was so Darcy Rose, what was it like being out in the audience and kind of moving around and interacting with people? I imagine that people probably are like simultaneously like delighted and frightened by the fact that the cast is in the audience.
It depends on the person. There was a person the other day when in the opening song I harass a good deal of people, and I was right up on top of someone and he just went, "Oh!" like, "Ooh!" She's right here. It's wonderful. You know, I'm a musical comedian, so I really enjoy getting to be in with them. And there's something more electric, I think, about getting to be so close with the audience and play with them.
Elevate your brand with iSpire, the global leader in vape technology with over 1,000 patents worldwide. Our innovative iSpire 1 simplifies your process with self-sealing hardware and automated filling. No capping, no hassle. For brands ready to go to market, our iSpire signature devices are for premium, customizable solutions. And as proud members of NCAA, NORML, the Origins Council, and the Women's Cannabis Chamber of Commerce, iSpire is committed to advocacy and social justice. Learn more today at getispire.com.
Yeah, when we first came in, I was noticing, I saw some things to the side, so I was thinking, okay, it's going to go some places, but you have, you know, your traditional proscenium in the front, which makes people feel very safe. Oh, you're going to stay right there. But I was really I was anticipating, I was wondering how it was going to happen. And it was so interesting because you're going through the audience, you're seeing things happening above, you're not sure what's going to happen. And so I think it also creates this opportunity for the audience to really lose themselves in the production without having that safe fourth wall there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. There's no, you can't sleep while watching this show. It will not let you sleep. It's like being on a Disney ride and you're going places and there's no sleeping on this one. And to note that too, Disney people, this is the ultimate. We're getting a lot of Disney people, like Imagineers and Disney production people that are coming, and they're bringing their other staff or their other teams from different areas because Disney's massive. But I'm getting so many Disney people that are coming in to see this because they just love what we've done with the immersive nature of it, with just how it's an experience that continually layers as you're walking into it, and then just the way we've done it in the round. So that's a huge compliment from them.
Yeah, that's got to feel really good.
Yeah, it's been great.
They're just such entertainment magicians in many ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But they're also a subversive lot, those people. It may be all nice and sweet on the front, but a lot of subversive people. That's why they like Reefer Madness. They're like
that kind of princess right here. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, don't you find that most of the most fun creative people often are? It's there's that certain something, and you're like, ooh, that's interesting.
A little edge there.
Yeah. I love that.
Well, you kind of have to be. If you're an artist, you need to be riding the edge. With comedy, you always if you're unwilling to or don't have the courage to sit on the edge of what makes people uncomfortable, then you should probably get out of comedy. And I think that goes for the same for anything in art, because art is supposed to push those edges.
Mm-hmm. So
that we look at ourselves and see ourselves in the mirror and go, ooh, or laugh at ourselves when we first laugh at ourselves. And then go, wow, we're kind of absurd monkeys, aren't we? And that's what needs to be happening all the time. So
I love that.
True. There's some art that's just there to comfort you, and that's wonderful, especially when you need that. And there's some art that's meant to challenge you, and you have to be willing to take that risk. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of my old theater professors used to say, love the art in yourself, not yourself in the art. Really get into what you're doing instead of you doing it. And I could really see that in the cast. There was a lot of everybody's really chewing the scenery in a way that respects one another. It's this beautiful balance that I really, really enjoyed. And Darcy Rose, I was wondering, as you were, because every actor's way of doing a character is different. What was your process, and what were some of the things that you really enjoyed discovering about Mary Lane?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know what my process was. My process is a very loose framework of just whatever works on the day.
Inspiration in that way is awesome.
Yeah. I just, it's really, like Christian said, it's really cleverly written. So it's very easy to just kind of say the words and let it be funny. But then also getting to dig deeper into it as I go along and stuff is wonderful. I think one of the things that I've really enjoyed about this show in particular is the opportunity to be surprised every night. There's some scenes in particular that we very purposely kept very loose. And so it is completely different night to night, depending on the audience, depending on me, depending on Anthony Norman. Like, it just whatever happens is what happens in the moment. And so getting to be surprised and take risks and just kind of float through those moments is really fun, especially because I know the character so well at this point. So it's just kind of a treat to be able to do that.
Yeah. And without giving away too much, when you make your flip in the show, which people have to watch to know what it is, it's really fun. Well, it was really interesting. Normally I'm one of those people that I don't think people like to watch shows with me because I can usually like, oh, this is gonna happen. I was like, I was not expecting that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yay. I can't. That is a thing I can point to directly. That was part of the process of I had to be very, very careful with myself to make sure I didn't give that away early, because I sing opera, I have all of that, but I'm also like very much personality wise, I'm a belter. So I had to be very careful in my mind that I created a bifurcation between the two versions of Mary Lane and how that is translated in her voice, so that you couldn't hopefully see that coming.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that was part of the process of me going, let me make sure this is completely separated.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I gotta say, Mama, you've got some lungs on you.
Yeah, she does. She's got some pipes, that one.
Oh, look who's talking. Are you kidding me?
Whatever.
No.
Kid, I'm 52 years old. I'm an octave below what I used to be. Come on, whatever.
Yeah, says the guy who just sang all the songs last night at the Legacy concert. Come on.
Oh, see?
Last night. you were facing the audience. You had an entire cast behind you going, like, okay, get it.
Oh.
Yes.
There's some beautiful pictures, by the way, I'll share with you, Darcy.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful.
Wow, that's so well. And being that you were the original Jimmy Harper, what does it feel like to be watching somebody else play your part, and and having a different interpretation, perhaps even?
It's great. I mean, what's so lovely is that I'm older now and clearly focused on the producing side of things, and it's a different brain.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't find myself yearning to act because my brain is currently in a different format. It's the things that are important are different to me. And so I don't find any sort of leaning or urge or need. If anything, all I'm doing is thinking, oh God, if someone gets sick or too many people get sick, I got to play this fucking role. Jesus. It's just
that's accurate. We would make you. We would just be like, you're on, kid. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
You still know the choreography, right? It's a whole different number.
No, and I don't tap dance. So like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I found really impressive, is like how involved the producers are. I mean, I saw on social media that Kristen Bell stepped in and did some work on. I mean, you just don't expect that.
That was a wild day. That was an insane day, and it's one of those days that are going to go down in my history book of memory of being like remember when, because it was wild. I mean, our producer had her swing debut because we were down a voice, and she was like, I know the show, okay, give me the costume. Like, that doesn't happen every day, and it was just wonderful. Everyone stepped up.
And that will happen again. It will happen again and again, because but it's also it tells you a lot about theater people too, because theater people are a show must go on kind of concept. So we get it done on time, and always, because you have to. I always say that if you want to hire, if you're in staffing or HR, always look for someone that was a theater person or not. Hire theater people. They get shit done. They don't ask questions. They just get it done.
Accurate.
You just power through everything. You have to. You have to. What was it like? Because you and Kristen Bell and Alan Cumming all worked together as actors on the movie, and now you're working together as producers. Is it kind of nice? Is it like working with family and like kind of working it out because you already have established these relationships and you know each other? Or what is that like? Because I know for me, like whenever there's somebody that I've been of that I've worked with in the past, and when we come back together to work on a project, it's always like, oh, I know your style. This will be wonderful, you know?
I remember.
Yeah, it's true. You have a shorthand with each other. There's going to be no surprises because you've had enough time to figure out all those surprises. And if there is any point of them that is like, there's just no surprises to it. So that's why a lot of our creative team. So just to kind of tell you, from the producers, all of us but one, and that's my wife, have been originally involved with the production, and there are seven producers. And so it's Andy Fickman, our original director, Dan, Kevin, the writers. We've got Alan, Kristen, myself, and so, and then my wife, and she's the only one. But we've been together for 15 years. No surprises. It's great.
And she lived it with you in some.
Well, no, not really. She kind of came in late. We Reefer Madness, we made the movie in 2004. It came out in 2005, and my wife and I met in 2009. And so she was not really she had never seen it or anything like that. So she kind of got pulled into it, let's just say, pulled into the Reefer family. And now she's sort of like the driving engine of the entire thing, actually.
Yeah,
So,
incredible. She's absolutely incredible.
That's very cool. No,
she's a Capricorn. She gets shit done.
Oh, Capricorns. Yeah. Capricorns and Virgos get shit done.
Yeah. But then Paul Nigro, who was in the cast with us, but also understudied Ralph. He's now our company manager, and so it kind of Wendy Parker, who was also in the chorus back in 1999. She is now our EP, and she's basically executive producing for all the sort of the events and the experience around the show. And Richard Druther is basically, who is our stage manager for all of the productions, was basically our advising stage manager for this production.
Wow. And you have an amazing band.
Yes.
Don't we?
Yeah.
You know, being out in the audience, and it's like, you know, my husband is a musician, and we're heading up to Alaska. Because he's playing some shows. We're leaving tomorrow, but he has his own band, but he played with Further and the Grateful Dead guys and Further for many years too. So he's like sitting there, and he was like, he just kept looking up, and he's like, oh, there's only a few of them up there, but they are tight. And so when everybody came down to play, he was just had this laser focus. He's like, they are so good. And it was so much fun to see everybody who come up and participate. It was really cool.
Yeah. And what's really cool too is that I've never seen a music director. David LaMoreau is our music director. He's also the lead of the David LaMoreau's 420. It's the band we were just talking about that we have for the post experience. David LaMoreau music directs from his drum kit. He's a drummer first, and I've never seen a drummer music director ever. And anyone you talk to will probably say the same. So it's kind of very unique.
Yeah.
But it cracked me up during rehearsals because he's like, I'm really not a piano player. And then he's just playing the entirety of rehearsals. And I'm like, can you shut up a little bit? Because
exactly.
No.
It's my second instrument.
Okay. Yeah. Just absolutely. The amount of talent across the board is for all departments is staggering. It's staggering. There's a lot of pinch me moments that happen when I'm around these people.
Yeah. What is it with these people who can just be like, oh yeah, you know, I play this and that, and oh, what do you have there? I'll just pick it up and, you know, play a few notes on it and make it sound like, you know, oh, that's nothing. And I'm always like, shut up. That is so good.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
well, it's a lot of practice. They make it look easy, but they make it look easy because it's a lot of practice.
I'm not allowed to comment on this. I'm a bit of a musical instrument hoarder. I'm not allowed to comment on this one.
Well, it's my husband's music partner. I call him first spouse because that's really the longest relationship my husband's had. And he actually married us too, which was really nice. But he's like one of those people that is like, oh yeah, you know, I did a record and I played everything on it. And he likes to noodle and do it. And the creativity that people have around these things. Like I play piano badly enough to plunk out stuff so that other people can back me with my music. You know, that's as far as it goes for me. So I really appreciate people who really just get into that. And it was so much just all together, like every single part of the production. There are just so many incredibly talented people. And what do you see in the future for the production? And what are some of your hopes? Like it's just so good.
So it's a bit of it's kind of a mixed bag. Um, the intention of bringing it back to LA, 25th anniversary, made a lot of sense. Plus, it was just ultimately more producible in the vision that we had with the outside garden, the inside space, just how it all works together. That I couldn't find that in New York, for it would just been cost prohibitive. So pivoting to LA was great. The idea was to get this production, figure out what it is, but also prove what this business model is. I'm a big believer in theater as a community builder. I've not been a person who's ever gone to church, but I am envious of people who go to church because they get this really great side effect, which I think is actually the prime effect, and that is community. Yeah. And so I've not had that sense of my community all my life has been theater. So theater is my church, and the sermons are sometimes great, sermons are sometimes bad, but I continue to go back to it because you never know when a sermon's great, it's really great, right? And so to me, part of my mission is that kind of bringing together community. So for the short run, it would be nice to have Reefer Madness here in Los Angeles for a little while. Los Angeles is very used to just productions popping up and then disappearing, popping up and then disappearing, or going over, or they're a tour that comes through and it's only here for a few months and then it's gone. But because of that, you can't build community. You might be able to build a little bit of community because you've got season pass holders or something like that, but very often that doesn't really exist because they're not doing what we're doing, which was the restaurant, the food, the other experiences, the music venue afterwards. It's giving people reasons to stay in this space and be together. And so that to me is my driving force right now for Near, is can we make this work? It's no easy lift, as much as we're getting rave reviews and the people are coming back and the word of mouth is incredible and all of that. It's LA, so the LA theater community can only support so much, and it's that we need to get other people from other communities who normally don't go to theater to come and see what we're doing here. And if there's anyone listening to this, I promise you're going to come to see the show and you're going to love it. It is a great show. Anyone who has the amount of times people have approached me saying, I never go to theater and I don't like musicals. I love this show. This is incredible. Tells me why people love theater. That I've had that conversation now so many times in the past, 9 weeks of being open. And so it's about how much can we bring in communities around and then build something, build people wanting to come back because they've met people that they have the same interests, or they're just love to laugh together, or they want to go to a comedy night, where we're doing a comedy night for the first time tonight.
Yeah.
We have the live music that you described, which is a really great, unique in LA kind of vibe that we're creating, which allows you to have conversations, but to have beautiful jazz playing in the background and people getting up and singing. You might even see Darcy Rose or myself getting up or singing, or any one of our people on staff or waiters getting up and singing. And we'd want to create that vibe. Because also there was another thing that I'd noted being around cannabis culture, is that cannabis culture has gotten very much boxed in. And so I was like, how can we redefine cannabis culture as well? Why does cannabis culture always have to be rap, hip hop, and all that kind of stuff? Why can't there be other modalities of music and modalities of experience around cannabis? Because one allotment of music is not everything. So anyway, building community, that's a huge one for me. And then, what we've built is an incredible format that I don't want to, I do not want to have to make any alterations on it. I think it's brilliant what Spencer Liff, our director, has done in terms of how the show comes at you and around you, and the dancing is happening in what we call the crucifix. That format is something that we've now discovered here in LA, and it's miraculous and it's wonderful. And I want to port that to other cities. So now we've got interest from London, we've got interest from New York, and we've got interest from Washington, D.C. I'm definitely interested in this show, particularly being close to power in Washington, D.C., because of all the things we talked about what it discusses, but also for helping to elevate and give platform to the issues for the cannabis space, as well as, yeah, we're really about, the show is not really about cannabis, although it, the cannabis world is definitely connected to it. This show is really about, it's about propaganda. It's about misinformation, disinformation, and how fear-mongering and how the same techniques are used over and over and over throughout history. It generally comes down to someone hugging a flag, carrying a Bible, and telling you that they are the only ones that can save your children. And that is what this show has always been about, and it is clearly a very relevant show today. So those are the sort of the short is for LA. I really want to provide community for LA, which I think LA is in dire need of. And
especially after the pandemic.
Especially after. It takes exercise. It's a muscle to be around other people, and that you have to exercise, to be social with people, to be open, to maybe be around people that have differences of opinion, but to be respectful, and maybe you both like the same music, but now other conversations are going to be created from that. And so I think it's really important we get out in real life with each other, and so I would hope that we can continue building a community.
Yeah. I love that.
Around this place.
Well, and I think, there's a lot that you said there that really, like, yes, it isn't so much about cannabis, but even with cannabis, like the work that we do, yes, it's about creating safe access, but more than anything, it's about critical thought.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really about...
It's sorely lacking in a lot of cases.
It is because people aren't really thinking for themselves as much, and especially with, technology is a great thing. The internet has its pluses, but some of the things that detract from it is a lot of the misinformation that people will take in as well. And so I think, like, being able to experience other people's points of views through different lenses helps you create your own independent lens, and maybe realizing that some of the things that you're fed weren't true. Not everything that's illegal is wrong. Not everything that's legal is necessarily good. We really need to learn how to disseminate that better. And also, when we talk about, what's allowed, what's not allowed, sometimes I just want to be like, how about if it doesn't hurt anybody, you mind your own damn business and figure out what works for you.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, thinking for yourself is effort. It takes work, it takes practice. And when major world changes happen, societal changes happen, some people just like to look to the closest person and say, you think for me.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous. That's when we get into some real danger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And in our world right now, we're going through a lot of that. And that's a thing. Like I really like with my policy work, I like to work across the aisle. And if somebody has good intentions, we can work together. But it's a whole different thing when people's existences are at stake.
Yes. And
women's bodies are being controlled by other people. And it's, I think that, the work that we do, whether we're talking about policy and advocating for it, or we're entertaining people and informing them and getting to them to look at the world through a different lens. These are just really important things that we need to look at. And going to LA, it's like, it's funny, you think about the film industry, you think about Hollywood, but you don't really think about theater in LA as much as you should, because there are all these amazing actors that are working there. And it's like, why wouldn't there be a thriving theater scene?
Yeah.
That's
There's
how I
a lot
feel.
of very frustrated musical theater people here.
Yeah.
Amen. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's my hometown. So like being able to have a production on this level with this incredible people right here in LA, it's like, well, finally, yes, let's do it. LA deserves theater just as much as New York.
Absolutely. And I also think that people who think they don't like musical theater are just caught up in an idea. I'm like, no, you just don't like bad musical theater, or maybe you just don't like when your friend is constantly singing musical theater because it's not that great.
True. I wasn't a big musical theater person until I did this show back in '99. I kind of looked at musical theater as like, what are they doing? Why are they breaking out into the song? Why is everything so cheesy and blah blah blah, right?
Yeah.
So it was this musical that that kind of opened that world to me. That's why I lovingly call this show the Gateway Musical.
I love that. I love that.
Gets under your skin and sticks with you.
Well, I have to admit, I used to be one of those people who said that I didn't like musical theater. And then when I was in school, I worked on a bunch of it and I really enjoyed it, except chess. I worked on chess. And that musical, no matter who does it, it always sucks.
It's a great album. Just don't ever produce it.
Oh,
that's all.
You can't stage that for anything and have it be.
No.
Sure.
It'll fail on the story. Yeah.
Sure, but I will hear no one say anything wrong about Wicked. I've seen Wicked 12 times, and it's like I'm addicted. That was my gateway musical. Well, no, that was Annie. That was Annie. Actually, the movie with Alan Cumming and stuff, and I was trying desperately to copy the choreography when I was a little toddler, a little tyke.
Oh, right on.
It's kind of wild then to now have him be one of the producers. I'm like, okay, hi. Wow, full circle. Here we are.
I remember going to New York on a field study for school because we were going to go see a bunch of shows, and then I got to see Uta Hagen in the Village, and I was all like, oh, Uta Hagen, that's going to be amazing. But we had to go see a Disney show, and I was not excited about seeing a Disney musical, and it was this is going to show you how old I am. It was Beauty and the Beast. That was my first
Broadway show.
It was freaking amazing.
Yep.
I was like, okay, I'm wrong. This is Disney knows how to do a Broadway musical, but at that time I was like, I'm a very serious theater person.
Shakespeare.
Yeah, I was like, what is this Disney shit? And it was like, no, it was super good. It was amazing. But I'm just so excited for you all. I think it's for those of you listening, if you can make the trip to LA or you're nearby, you really do have to see the show. It's so good. Even if you're jaded, your jaded butt will really like this show. It's very good. And the amount of talent that's in this little theater it will blow you away.
It's top shelf. It's incredible. And I've performed this show hundreds of times in my life. And like I said, was in the movie as well. And I still watch from up in the balcony. I watch every night. You'll see me up there because it's surprising. It's just great. And this cast is amazing. It's just amazing.
So when are you going to have an outdoor garden with consumption?
As soon as the laws that were inspired by Reefer Madness won't force us to have to lose our liquor license. Yeah. Right. So that's the problem, is that we have a liquor license and we can't lose that liquor license by having any kind of consumption. So, I mean, we sometimes have a van out front. There's a lady she has a consumption van. She brings it up, and inside it feels like a living room and all that stuff. And so if anyone wants to smoke, we just point them out towards that. And people love that. It sits out on Hollywood Boulevard, and they get inside the van. And
that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Looking to grow your cannabis business and expand your network? Join the National Association of Cannabis Businesses for just $50 a month and unlock exclusive access to new commercial opportunities and clients across the industry. Enjoy special discounts, free advertising, and access to members-only content. Whether you're starting out or scaling up, NACB tailors its memberships to propel you forward. Visit nacb.com now and join the leading community dedicated to cannabis business excellence. Well, and you have a lot of really good cannabis themed cocktails. The food is good. And that was something that really surprised me because I don't know about you, but every time I've done dinner theater, it's usually the show is good, but the food is usually kind of lacking. And it was very good.
There's the difference. This isn't dinner theater. It's sinner theater, as Christian calls it.
I love that.
Yeah.
There's the difference. That's what they're all doing wrong, is it's sinner theater.
Yeah. Yeah.
What does that mean? What does sinner theater mean?
Dinner theater? Well, we were sinning with all this pot and reefer. And the reefer den, it's not dinner theater, it's sinner theater.
Sinner theater?
Sinner theater. Sinning. Mm-hmm.
I love that.
But yeah, that was the whole point, is having the food, is because you can get there early. You get there too. We open the venue 2 hours early so people can kind of meet their friends after work, drinks, have food, and then you go see the show. And then once the show's over, you only have to wait a half hour, and then the venue's then transformed into a music venue, and then even on Friday nights after that, it goes into a midnight Rocky Horror shadow casting. We do,
seriously, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we're calling it Freaky Fridays. So Friday nights will be we're starting with Rocky Horror and the Sins of the Flesh, which are the production company that does it on the west side of LA. They've been doing it for 35 years at the same theater, shadow casting for 35 years. It's the longest running in the world. They do that on Saturday nights midnight, but on Friday nights midnight, they do it at the Reefer Den, and it's incredible. I'd never been to it before, so I was a virgin at the first one a couple of weeks ago. It's amazing. So for any of you cult people out there, cult film people, you're gonna really enjoy this. That starts at midnight. It's free. You just have to RSVP on Eventbrite. Just look it up. Rocky Horror, Sins of the Flesh, Reefer Den, and and then also the music venue part of it. You don't have to come see the show. You don't even have to come see the show if you want to just eat at the garden, eat out in the Victory Garden, or if you want to come and enjoy the jazz music after the show, that's free and open. Again, it's about building community and building up a world that people like a space that people want to go to. I mean, one frustration I had when I lived in LA was having to always get in Park and Valley. We're just like you just park once and your entire night's done.
Yeah.
One-stop shop.
Yeah, that was super easy.
It's incredible to see that starting to happen. Like seeing people that I know come to the jazz night afterwards and not see the show because they saw it the week prior, but they just wanted to come dance and have some live music. And just seeing that community start to form is wonderful.
Yeah, and from what I understand, every night it's different because you have different people standing in.
Yes.
That's really cool. I love that. And for people... Yeah, well, and for people who want to see what it's about, get tickets, how do they do that?
You can, first of all, reefermadness.com is where you can sort of get a sense of everything, but also buy tickets from there. But if you want to follow us on social media, Instagram is at Reefer the Musical. And then if you just want to follow me, you'll have to accept some of my pictures of my daughter, my 5-year-old daughter, but otherwise that's US Canuck, USCANUK, and yeah, just follow us along. That's really how you do it. You can also find out if you want to follow on Eventbrite. You can follow the Reefer Den on Eventbrite, and that's how you'll be able to see what kinds of events outside of Reefer Madness that we're doing.
Yes.
That's fun. And Darcy Rose, how do we follow you on social media? Because you have, I've looked at your Instagram and you have a lot of fun stuff on there.
Oh, wonderful. Right now, it's mostly Reefer Madness spam, which I'm not going to apologize for because I love this show. It's just at Darcy Rose Byrnes, and Byrnes is Byrnes because I'm Irish, and we like to make it hard for you to find how to spell our names. So, there you go.
Well, wonderful. Thank you both for taking time out to meet with me today. It was, we had an episode with Amy Rose Eisenbach, and that was delightful. And it's just been wonderful being able to meet with both of you too, and to have seen the show in between so that we had a lot to talk about. I just, it got both sides of my brain, the theater geek and the cannabis nerd. So I really loved it. And even if, and the one thing to note is that even if you are, you're not into cannabis, you will love the show. It is fun. It's vibrant. There's just so much going on, and it's a beautiful night out in the city.
Right. Yep. I agree.
I concur.
I concur. Thank you both so much.
Thank you for having us.
And everyone, remember, if you like listening, please give us a review, share it with a friend, let us know what your favorite episodes are. And if you'd like to stay in touch over social media, we are Planted with Sara Pion on Facebook and Planted with Sara on Instagram and Twitter. You can also go to our website, www.plantedwithsara.com, or listen to us on our parent network, Radio Misfits Network, where there are other great podcasts, like one of my favorites, the Winemakers Podcast. So check it out. You can listen to Planted wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, whether that's Pandora, Spotify, Amazon, Google, Apple, Stitcher. Tune in. We are there. So join us. And until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and remember, it's a wild world out there. Be good to one another. Until next time, take care.